So thanks, Paul. We are recording this meeting so that we can go back and listen, and we can hopefully promote it to people that weren't able to make it today. So welcome to Webinar Wednesday. Today we're going to be talking Redemption 101, and we've got Megan Burch from Redemption Plus joining us. Hi, Megan.
Hi, everyone.
Now, Megan has been with Redemption Plus for nearly 7 years. She's been concentrating on merchandising, assortment and redemption training, assortment planning, redemption training. She's merchandised and trained over 100 FECs across US and Canada. She's also the host of the video series Eyes on the Prize on the Redemption Plus YouTube channel. So you make sure to check that out after. So on behalf of everyone here on the Zoom, welcome to Megan Burch. Take it away, Megan.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Ray, and thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here and just talk redemption. I'm a big redemption nerd, and I love talking about it. So let me get my screen shared here, start my slides. So I will have all of my slides available for you guys to look at afterwards. Paul's going to send them out. So if you have any questions, you'll have that to look back onto. And I'm going to be pretty casual here. I've got a bunch of slides to go through, but if you have questions, feel free to ask. We're going to have a Q&A at the end, but just pop on in if you have anything, that's burning and you just need to know about it. So what I'm going to do is just kind of go through a lot of very basic information. We'll talk about kind of what is merchandising's role in the overall experience of the game room. We'll kind of talk about who does what as far as responsibilities with the redemption space, knowing your target audience, knowing how and what to order, how to merchandise it, how to keep up with inventory, and then a little bit about how to market your redemption store, and then what are some fun ideas that you can do to have fun with your staff and make them feel included. So before we move forward, I want everyone to take a moment, picture in your mind, you're going out to a bowling center with your family. You've got maybe the kids or grandkids. You guys are having a great time. Somebody maybe bowled a turkey. Somebody hit a jackpot on a big bass wheel. We're playing laser tag. We're having pizza. We've dropped a good amount of money, but we're having a wonderful time. And now we've gotten all of our tickets. We're ready to go in and cash in our tickets for our prizes. And this is what you see when you go into the redemption room. How does that make you feel about the money that you just spent and the great time that you just had? But this is the impression that you're given. Make you feel kind of like the money maybe wasn't well spent?
Yeah.
Kind of picked over, feels like a Macy's day after Christmas sort of sale, just kind of icky. So now picture the same experience. You've got your tickets, you're ready to go check out, and this is what greets you. It's full, it's bright, there's lots of prizes, it looks fun, it looks inviting, there's tons to choose from. Do you feel like the money that you just spent is the perceived value of that is the same versus the previous redemption space?
5 times.
Oh,
yes.
Or 100 times, yeah.
Yes, it is very, very different perception. So with that in mind, some of the basics as far as redemption merchandising, prizes drive your gameplay. So if your guests don't have prizes to choose from, if there's not anything there, they're not motivated to play those games. They're not motivated to go back and put more money onto that game card to play in additional games to win an extra 200 tickets so that they can walk out with that Nerf blaster. So you have to have a good selection of prizes to motivate that gameplay. The next thing to consider is that winners make players. So you want them to be able to win. You want your guests to have a good time, be able to walk away with something, whether it's out of a crane or a merchandiser machine, or they're able to trade their tickets in. You want to give away prizes because that is going to encourage those repeat business. And then the last kind of main point to think about is that redemption is very often the last stop of the visit. You know, they're going to play their games, they're going to eat, they're going to bowl, and they're going to get their prizes on the way out the door. So you want to have that impression, the last impression they have of your center, to be a positive one, because the next time that they have that disposable income to come out and spend and do something fun with their family, they might think twice about coming back to a place that looked like that first picture, because they didn't feel like they received enough value for the money they spent. So you want a good experience in that redemption center before they walk out of your doors and onto Yelp or Google reviews or anything like that. So now we'll kind of talk about the redemption space as far as like the roles and responsibilities. So a lot of times we will hear that redemption is like the last thing people think about. It's, you know, not well staffed, it's not well managed. And so I'm just going to kind of break out some roles and responsibilities. So I'm not sure what what your roles are, but generally kind of the GM/owner role, you're going to oversee the redemption program. You're going to manage the staff. You'll probably handle that relationship with your redemption vendor. You're going to be the one setting the budget, that sort of thing. And you may not necessarily be hands-on, but you want to have a good idea of what's going on with that redemption program. The next role is what I like to call a redemption champion. So if you can have one person in your center that oversees redemption, they're doing the day-to-day management, they're placing and receiving the orders, they're managing their inventory as far as the monthly counts, making adjustments, discrepancies with, when you receive your order, and they're overseeing the planogram or the product placement and then the back storage setup, as well as training the staff that is going to work in that redemption space. So having one person who's able to just really wrap their arms around that whole program will help that program run a lot smoother. So then you'll also have your redemption staff who are going to be probably your part-timers. A lot of time it's kids, you know, your young hourly employees coming in. They're going to be servicing the guests as far as assisting in their selection. They're scanning out the product. So you want them to have a good knowledge of the redemption, how everything works, and then how the games are played, so that they are able to assist your guests with that. So if they have a guest coming up and saying, oh, I really want this prize and I only need another 100 tickets, they can say, hey, go play this game over here. You'll have a better chance of getting those 100 tickets than if you were to play skee ball, you know, where you might only get 15 tickets. So having them understand those payouts, being friendly, being engaging and charismatic with those guests is going to help with that overall impression. Again, the last stop of the visit before they walk out the door. And then these staff members are also going to be the ones on a regular basis who will be stocking and straightening and cleaning and just kind of maintaining the whole overall look of the area. Is everything making sense so far?
Mhm. Yep.
Totally.
All right. So now we'll kind of move on to what we call the 4 player types. So we've learned through all of our time in the business that there are 4 types of players that come into the arcade, play games, and turn in their tickets for prizes. So the first type of player is the impulse player. They are going to have a limited amount on their card and they're not going to add any more. So they might be here for a birthday party. Maybe they're just, you know, attending your center for one afternoon and they may not ever come back, but they're going to play. They're going to get as many tickets as they can on their card and they're going to cash it all in. So they're typically spending about 250 tickets or less, and they're shopping in your bin items. So your little toy soldiers, your finger traps, your small items, Tootsie Rolls, that sort of thing, 5, 10 tickets here and there. For everything that across all of our sales to all of our 1,700 plus customers, almost half of what we sell falls in this 250 ticket range. So most centers tend to have, you know, similar reporting as far as the percentage of what their guests redeem. So when you're spending your inventory budget, kind of keeping in mind that the bulk of tickets redeemed will be in that 250 ticket or less range. The next player is the trader. They're typically spending about 250 to 1,250 tickets. So they come in, they have something in mind. They might look up and see that big Nerf blaster you've got up on the top shelf, and they think, I'm going to play, I'm going to win for that prize, but they are not going to win enough tickets for it. So they're going to trade down the wall, likely to something within the same product theme. So maybe they can't walk away with the name brand Nerf blaster, but they can leave with a 500 ticket import blaster, that something like this here, that they can still go out in the backyard and play with their brothers and cause a ruckus with, even if it's not that same big prize. This is going to be the next biggest chunk of all tickets redeemed. Across all of our sales, it's about a third of what we sell. So right there, huge chunk, 1,250 tickets and below. We'll talk a little bit more later about reporting, but your card reader systems will give you reporting, and you can look at what you're actually selling to kind of understand, those ticket ranges. But just again, kind of keeping in mind that right there is going to be the biggest chunk. The next player is your saver. So these are guests who are saving up tickets across multiple visits. They're coming back. They want a particular prize. They're typically going to be maybe a teenager or a young adult who has that impulse control under enough to actually be able to save those tickets and come back. They want something exciting. They like new and trendy items. And this tends to be about 10% of all of the prizes that we sell. And these are going to be $12.50 to about $37.50 tickets. And then the last player is your super saver. These are going to be some of your most loyal guests. They're coming back regularly. They're strategic. They're coming on half price game night. They know exactly which machines to play to get the max payout so that they can save up for your really high-end merchandise, whether it's a gaming console or a licensed item, something like that. Typically, that's going to be $37.50 and above. And this tends to be also about 10% of what we sell. So it's going to be a much smaller percentage as far as inventory spend. So with that in mind, kind of knowing the different types of players who are coming in, you also want to think about your target audience. So this can be looked at by type of center. So we've kind of found that there are two basic types of centers. You're going to have a destination center, whether it's a resort. This is somewhere where you're going to have maybe a family come and stay for a week, and they might be attending or visiting the arcade several times throughout the week. They're going to be able to save up their tickets and get some of the higher end prizes. So with that sort of location, you might have a higher percentage of savers and super savers versus a tourist location where they're just coming in, maybe walking in off the boardwalk for a quick play, and they're going to walk away with more of those impulse and trader types. Then you have your community destinations, which I would think most of you would fall into this, but I'm not super familiar with all of your businesses. But a community business is going to be, somewhere where you've got a regular clientele that's coming in over a regular basis. And then kind of the two dividing lines with that is going to be a higher income, where you'll have a lot of repeat guests. They want those premium prizes. They want high-end items. They want licenses. So you'll have a higher percentage of those savers and super savers versus a mid-income location where you'll have some repeat, but a lot more single visit guests, and they're not going to save as much. So you'll be higher in those impulse and trader players. So just kind of thinking about that in terms of your own business. And again, with your inventory spend, what sort of prizes you want to provide for your guests. Then we also need to consider the age of your guests. So a center that might be focused more for younger guests. I know you all have bowling, but I'm thinking a center that might offer soft play or a trampoline or something that's focused a little bit on younger guests will have higher percentage of those impulse and traders, and will want to provide prizes fit for those guests, more like your candy, your plush, bubbles, play sets, those types of things. I would say the vast majority of customers we work with kind of have a mixed age demographic, where you're going to have young all the way up to grandma and grandpa age coming in. And so you'll want to have a really wide variety of products and themes and a mix of the player types. But then there are some locations that are targeted for kind of a teen or adult, more of a date night sort of feel. So keeping that in mind, you'll want to have older, age appropriate prizes, more like your electronics, your drinking games, licensed items, and a little bit more of those in the saver and super saver range. Am I making sense so far?
Yep.
All right. So now we've kind of talked about who's coming in. Let's talk about what prizes you will want to offer within your center. So we recommend merchandising by theme, which is where you're going to put like items together, similar to where you would walk into a grocery store. You're going to have all of your produce together and all of your frozen foods will be together and the bakeries over here. You want to set up your redemption space the same way. Our brains understand categories, and it's going to be a lot easier on your guests to shop if your wall or your room is divided into neat sections with like items within those sections. So I have here our top performing themes, product themes. The top number is going to be, of course, our bin candy and toys, those impulse items, your Tootsie Rolls, your small items. Plush is our number 2 selling theme. That's something that everybody can enjoy. And I've got a big plush display back here. Balls, then action gear, which will be your Nerf, your swords, those types of items. Candy, that's again something that appeals to all ages. Lights and glows, so your lava lamp, your glow in the dark, your glow stick type items. Games and sports, which could be anything from a board game to a baseball bat, just something that they're going to be able to play and have a competition with. Putties and slimes, which I know is kind of one of the least favorite that operators prefer, but the kids love anything that's sticky and slimy and disgusting. Then accessories, which would be your hair accessories, your princess play sets, your dress up type items, keychains. STEAM, which would be any type of item that's going to be your science, technology, engineering, art, or math, like a learning type item. And then vehicles and flyers, so your cars, your trains, those types of things. So these are how the performance that they do across our product line. So that's just, again, something to consider when you're spending your inventory budget as far as what types of prizes to include. Something else you want to consider is what I like to call the 80-20 rule. So again, let's go back to the grocery store. You're going every week, and probably about 80% of what you're purchasing every week is going to be your basic staple items, your bread, your milk, your eggs, etc. So with that in mind, with your redemption store or counter, you want to have about 80% of that be your staple items, your samurai swords, your whoopee cushions, things that are tried and true, that perform well, and most guests come back for over and over again. Then that other 20%, you can kind of mix it up, like at the grocery store, that's going to be your seasonal Oreos, that's your pumpkin spice coffee creamer, those types of things that you can change in and out with the season, with whatever new license is out for whatever movie, the latest trend or fad, those types of things that you can really mix it up. So having a good solid set of staple items and then mixing in a smaller set of seasonal, ever-changing things will help keep your redemption space feeling fresh. We'll have operators ask us, how often do we need to turn over all of our prizes, change everything out? So the last IAPA benchmark survey found that the average customer visits an FEC 2.4 times a year. So if you're thinking, I need to change up my display quarterly or once a month, really change it all out, the majority of guests aren't going to see that. It's still going to feel fresh and new to a lot of them. So again, that's kind of where that 80-20 rule comes in. Have a small percentage of things that do feel fresh, but you don't have to change everything up all the time.
Yep.
Licensed items. Now, when I say licensed, I'm talking anything that has a name brand. So if you're able to get an item with an Avengers an Avengers item or a Monopoly that's got, we have a Black Panther Monopoly right now, that type of thing that's going to have a name brand on it, that ups the perceived value of your prize. Because you could easily get a Nerf blaster that's, maybe not a Nerf, but an off-brand import item, or you could get the Spider-Man blaster. It's the same type of item, but it ups that perceived value that, oh, this is really good. They've got a lot of good prizes in here. And licensed items help you also keep things new and fresh. And then with seasonal merchandise, something to consider is that if you're going to buy merchandise for a holiday, an occasion, you'll want to start carrying it about 6 weeks before. So if you're going to bring in Halloween merchandise, you'd want to have that in middle of September. And buy small. You don't need to buy a ton of it. You don't want to be sitting, having to store leftover Halloween stuff all year long, because you can't have Halloween stuff out, around Christmas time. It just looks kind of lazy. So buy a small amount, run it through that holiday, and hopefully you'll be done before the holiday even gets there and you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so I'll talk to you guys a little bit about some of the product trends that we're seeing. These are ever changing. There's always something new coming out, but some of the biggest things that we're seeing right now, anything that you can fidget with or that provides a tactile experience. Am I echoing?
No, not
Okay,
now.
okay.
Someone just signed in or something.
Okay. You guys remember the fidget spinners, and then it was the bubble poppers, and anything that you can sit and manipulate and play with. We're starting to see a lot of tactile plush, like these little turtles, octopus right here. They flip inside and out. So it's not only just a plush that you can hug onto, it's something that you can sit and manipulate. So anything like that that a guest can sit and fidget with are very popular, and we're just seeing more and more iterations of those. We're about to come up into the spring and summer outdoor season, so any sort of outdoor play item will be a good option. We've been I know we're still in winter, but we're heading out of it. I think you guys probably get a lot more winter than we do down here in the US. But, we've all been inside for so long. We've been playing board games, puzzles. We've seen a huge surge in that kind of stuff. But now that the weather's about to turn, think about bringing in those items that they can take outdoors and play with. Like I was just mentioning a minute ago, licensed items, and we are seeing more and more and more items come out with licensed options. So a plush, a Nerf blaster, we just got samples of some little slow rise foam squishies. So anything that you can bring in a license is going to be something that freshens up your space and adds some value. Another item, a kind of trend that we're seeing, and it sort of starts with, if you think about the decorating trends, everything is all white and clean, wood tones, lots of that sort of natural feel. We're starting to see that trend over into toys. So these bears right here, we just brought these in. They're kind of a black and a brown bear, which is very natural colored. Normally we would do something really bright, maybe a hot pink bear or a hot green, something like that. We're starting to see more of those actual animal prints or natural looking tones come into the toy space. Something Redemption Plus is working on that will be out sometime this month. We are starting a quarterly product trend report. So that will be releasing here in the next few weeks, and you can start to look for that, and you'll see more information about what is trending within the industry and just with toys in general. So keep an eye peeled for that. Okay, so we know what to order now. Let's talk about placing our orders. So you want to set up a regular cadence to order, whether you're ordering weekly, bi-weekly, or maybe just once a month. Have it scheduled and have a specific day. Okay, I know I order on the first Monday of every month. That way you can plan for it. You can know this is when I need to do it. And a lot of it might depend on your shipping time from your vendor. When you need an item, I know coming to Canada, a lot of times the shipping will take a little bit longer. So just keeping that in mind with when you place your order versus when it's going to arrive to you. You want to order with enough time that you're not going to run out of everything before that order is received. I touched a little bit earlier on those usage reports from your card reader systems, but these can be an excellent guide for building an order for you. So you can look at what you scanned out the last week, the last month, however you want to format that report, and use that to base what you build your new order off of. So if I look and I see I'm selling 500 samurai swords every month, I know I need to make sure I have at least 500 samurai swords on my order every time. The one thing with those is that you have to make sure you're scanning your items correctly. The system's only as smart as what goes into it. So if you're scanning everything out under, one SKU, it's not going to be able to break down exactly what you sold and how many of that. So if you want to use it as an ordering guide, you've got to make sure that your staff is scanning everything properly. And then knowing how much to order can always be a tricky game to play. As far as setting a par level, which is how many items you want to have in stock at any given time, I like to recommend merchandise quantity plus a half. So if you have an item that fits 10 on a peg, you could set your par level for 15. So that'd be a full peg plus half in the back. If it's a higher volume item, that's something that you're going to sell a lot of, like those samurai swords, you'll want to set a much higher par value so that you're not running out of them. And if it's a higher ticket item, but a lower volume, you don't need to have nearly as many of those on hand. For example, you might have a high-end set of headphones. You might move one of those every 6 months. There's no need to keep a huge quantity of those on hand. And that's just inventory dollars sitting on a shelf and collecting dust when it could have been spent somewhere else in a ticket range that is being more regularly redeemed. Again, you'll have to think about your par levels in terms of how often you're going to order. If you're ordering weekly or once a month, those par levels might need to be a lot higher or a lot lower. Again, using those usage reports will really help you get a feel for how often this item is being redeemed. So now we'll talk a little bit about merchandising, my favorite topic. So we recommend using what we call a vertical merchandising method. So you can see this picture over here. You've got your lower ticket items down here at the bottom, and then your item, the ticket value increases as you go up the wall. So then you're going to have your highest value items up here at the top. So that allows your guest, again, we like patterns, we understand numerical order, that allows your guests to stand in one spot and be able to look at this whole wall and understand how the ticket values are laid out. We also like to have clean lines. So if you're going to have a section like this picture here, for example, we have two themes. The top theme here is going to be your lights and glows items, and the bottom theme here is games and sports. So we've got a nice clear division between the two themes. And then you can see here, you've got nice lined up items. Everything's clean, clear. It's not all jumbled up. It just kind of gives your eye a path to follow and isn't just a big jumbled mess looking on the wall. SKU count and double facings. So you can use multiple facings of an item, which means you're going to have multiple representations of that item out on the wall. This helps you in several different ways. It can help you cut down on your SKU count, because instead of having two separate items right here, you have one item. You've got more stock of this item out available, so you don't have to go to the back and restock it as often. And so that's less items that you have to worry about managing, reordering, stocking. And we know a busy Saturday afternoon, you're not having to send somebody off of the floor to go grab more of these moon blasters to put back out, because I only had 4 of them on the wall and it's a really popular item. Down here, you can see the samurai swords. which I know I've talked about a lot, but samurai swords are literally our best-selling item for the last 20 years. You can never go wrong with a samurai sword. But we've got it here. You can see right in the middle of the wall, kind of a nice focal point. It's going to be an item that is sold very regularly, and we've got 3 facings of it. So again, takes up a good amount of room, and I don't have to go back and restock it constantly. This also works if you have multiple colors or styles in an assortment. You can do 1 peg of each to show off that full assortment like we've done here with the swords, the 3 separate colors. With your bin items, so that's going to be those low impulse items, your candies, your small toys. When you're setting these up, you want them in numerical order, left to right as you read. You'll start up at the top with your lowest ticket value. You'll go work your way across, then you'll drop down to your next row and work your way across till you get to your highest ticket value down in the bottom. Again, our brains understand numerical order very easily. And if you've got young guests who are learning how to count and understand, okay, I have 50 tickets or less, I can pick anything from here on up. Makes sense to them. With your showcases, you'll kind of follow a similar theory. If it's a shorter showcase like this, you'll do your lower ticket values at the top, numerical order left to right. So your highest ticket value will be down over here. If it's a tall showcase, you'll use the vertical merchandising. So your low ticket value on the bottom and kind of work your way up to your highest value items up at that top shelf. One of my favorite tips is what we call 1 to show, 1 to go. So if you've got items that you're going to have up on display, whether it's a big plush like these up here, this guy's hanging from the ceiling, or you've got your lava lamps that are plugged in and on display, those ones that are up on display, that's the 1 to show. When your guest wants to redeem that item, get them one out of the back or out of a cabinet underneath the register. That'll be your 1 to go. So that leaves your whole display intact. You're not having to climb up and down on ladders. In the case of a lava lamp, you're not having to deal with something that's hot going home with a guest. And really with a lamp that's already been plugged in, you don't want to send somebody home with that anyway, because who knows how much life is left in that lamp. So just leave the one on display and then let them take home one that's in the back stock. With your bin items, a lot of those bin items cause debris, especially candy, if it's like a pixie stick or a fun dip. So you want to regularly clean out those bins. A good time to do it is once a month when you're doing your physical inventory. Take everything out, wipe it down, maybe get some Goo Gone and a scraper out if you've got anything sticky, because you want to have a clean appearance of your fixtures, especially if it's something that's housing food, things that people put in their mouths. You don't want them picking that food out of a dirty container. With your high-end merchandise, we kind of talked to this a little bit with the par levels, but you don't need a lot of it. Those items, your gaming consoles, your high-end headphones, those types of things that your super savers are saving for, they take a very long time to save up for. So you don't need to buy a lot of them. And especially if it's an electronic, a console, something like that, technology changes so quickly that if you buy 5 Xboxes, by the time those are all one, there's probably a new Xbox out. So now you've just got old, outdated merchandise sitting on the shelf, just waiting to be won. That inventory budget you could spend elsewhere on things that are being redeemed pretty regularly. Ticket labels. You want to have everything in your room or in your counter with a ticket label on it. I went to a location recently. It was a room, big store. There was one person working. They had almost no ticket labels on anything. So instead of being able to service the guest and check them out, every guest had to pick up an item, take it to the employee. How much is this? They had to look it up. Oh, I don't have enough tickets, and then go back and repeat. And it was busy and there were a lot of people in there. So that problem could have been solved by having ticket labels up on everything and having the correct ticket label up, because then again, it's the last experience. You don't want to put a bad taste in their mouth because, this was marked 1,000 tickets, but it actually is ringing up at 5,000 tickets. You want the right price on there. You don't want to have any issues. And with your labels, label things consistently, have the same look, the same style. You don't want those handwritten labels. You want it to look neat and clean. If you have an item that comes as an assortment, so multiple colors, multiple styles or characters, make sure all of those colors and styles are out and available to see. If you're not able to do multiple facings, you can kind of alternate them on the peg. So red, green, blue, so on and so forth. So everything's out and represented. With your plush, make sure that all of the characters or all of the colors are out, and then make sure that their eyes are facing forward to kind of create that connection with the guest. You can use what's called an inventory control clip. So you can, in this top photo here, there's this little black rubber clip. If you're running low on something, you can push your items to the front of the peg, put your clip on it, and it'll push it forward and face it so it looks full, even if it's not.
Thank you.
It's just like a retail thing. You want to, again, we don't want that day after Christmas picked over looking feel. You want it to be full, even if it's not. You can just kind of trick it by sliding everything forward. And then these little guys here are called plush hooks. These can be used to hang up plush up on your grid wall. You can hook them through the plush. If they don't have a little loop, you can just hook it over the seam. You can hang these from the ceilings, hang on grid walls, hang up above. They're just old drapery hooks, essentially, if old-fashioned curtains. So these are great for setting up those big items up on display. But if you do use them and you do get that plush down to give to a guest, make sure to take that hook out because they're super, super sharp, and you don't want a 5-year-old running around with essentially a needle. Any questions so far? Doing good? Okay. So let's talk about your cranes and merchandisers. So with your cranes, we recommend merchandising in what we call stadium style. So you're going to have you're going to put in the front of the machine, kind of low in the front, and then build your plush up to where it's higher in the back, like they're sitting in little stadium seats. So we're looking at this machine from the side here. If you think about it from a guest perspective, a lot of times they're short. So if they're standing in front of a machine, they can look up and see all of the plush from their perspective. They can see all of their eyes facing forward, and they can see all of the little different characters or animals in there. This look takes some maintenance. It's something that as the game is played throughout the day, they're going to get tossed around. You're going to have things upside down and rear ends in the air. So it's something you need to open up the machine every morning, restock it, and then kind of refluff it back up to being in this stadium style, but it gives a really nice presentation. Some other creative ideas to put in your cranes outside of balls or plush. You could do ticket balls. This is an item we sell. It's a knobby ball with a ticket value amount, so they can they win the ball, they bring it up to the redemption counter, and they can put tickets on their card. Or if they want, they can just keep the ball and not get the tickets, however you guys want to set that up. You could do like a Starbucks cup with a gift card or some other local option inside of the cup. You could do rolled up t-shirts, you could do hats. You could even do, I've seen like Chinese takeout boxes put into cranes, and you can put little small prizes, things you're trying to get rid of, put into the little takeout box, and you can win that out of the crane. So there's a lot of different options that you can do. Anything that you do put into a machine, you don't want to have that exact same item in the redemption room. So you could have a similar type. You could have, a Beats headphone in your prize locker, and then you could have a Bose headphone in the redemption room, but you don't want the same one, because why would I bother to save up 20,000 tickets if I can just swipe my card one time and potentially win that exact same prize out of the machine? It kind of devalues that prize. Same with your plush. You don't want the same plush in a crane and on your walls. You can do, similar types of items, just not the exact same one. So let's talk about kind of stocking and storage. You want to set up some sort of schedule that your employees know and understand, stock things regularly. You want to keep the room nice and neat and full, stock, throughout the day. If you don't have time to run off the floor and restock, then straighten, pull things forward, face it, make it look nice and full. You want the redemption room to be clean. We all have been in these centers with these kids running around, and you're going to have handprints and nose prints and tongue prints on things. So we just don't want that sticky and gross feeling. Again, it kind of devalues your center and your experience. So keeping everything clean, and that means remembering to climb up top, dust, clean things that are hanging from the ceiling. Just overall give your redemption a nice sparkling look. With your back room, whether it's a full room or a storage area, we recommend merchandising again by theme, and then using clear storage totes. So if you've got all of your plush on one shelf in these 3 totes here, it's very easy for an employee to restock and to put away an item when it comes in the shipment, and then they can just grab the tote, bring it out to the floor and stock from that. So label your totes, do it by theme. You could have a whole shelf or a whole shelving unit, depending on your size, dedicated to a theme. You can also use you can also use mesh laundry bags. They make really great storage for pre-inflated balls or plush. I'm a big fan of those. Especially with the balls, you can have somebody, maybe a Thursday when you're not busy, send them off, have them fill up a couple bags of balls, and then on Saturday afternoon, you don't have to worry about it. You can just grab a bag. It's already got things pre-inflated, ready to go. So let's talk a little bit about inventory. So with every order that you purchase from us or from most other redemption vendors, they're going to provide what's called a DPL. You might hear it called an EPL. It's a digital packing list or electronic packing list. We invented it, so we own the trademark on DPL. That's why the others might call it an EPL, electronic. But essentially, it's a text file. It comes with your order. It details out everything that you purchased, the ticket value, the quantity. You download it, you upload it into your POS system, and it brings that live inventory into your system. When you receive your order, you want to make sure to check in the order against the packing slip, because maybe something was broken, or maybe you missed a box, or there was a mispick. The DPL doesn't know that. So you need to make sure you actually have what it says. And if you don't, then you need to go into the POS system and adjust it, whether you were long or short or whatever the case may be. You'll want to take a physical inventory. I say minimum once a month. If you let it go longer than that, it can be really hard to go back and kind of try to find where there are issues or correct those issues. Some locations will do it weekly or bi-weekly, really whatever works best for you, as long as it's being done once a month. We touched a little bit earlier on scanning integrity, making sure that your employees are scanning out the right items, especially if you're wanting to use those usage reports to reorder from. But then just for your inventory, your overall inventory, if they're not scanning the right things out, when you go to do your physical inventory, everything will be off and crazy. And then it's going to be almost impossible for you to go back and figure out where the problem was. Are we actually missing this thing, or did somebody just scan out the wrong item? Do I have a theft problem, or is it a scanning problem? So teaching them to scan, whether it's to pick up the item physically and scan it, or if you use a scan book. I think about 90% of all of the items we sell have a physical UPC on them that can be scanned. For your smaller items like your Tootsie Rolls that can't have a barcode, we can provide you a scan book that you can just scan right out of that book. And with your bin items too, depending on your setup, if you have your bins in a counter, you can just put a barcode on the back of the bin. So you open your counter, grab out your little putty, and then just scan the back of the bin right there, ready to go. I have right here an example of a checklist for a redemption area. I know in your centers, you probably have checklists everywhere else with your bowling maintenance, with your kitchen. It's a good idea to set one up for redemption as well, so that your employees understand the expectation and that they can follow through on those. So this is an example. You can use it as is, or you can tailor it to your own business. You want to do just whatever is going to work the best and have the most chance of being followed. But if you can set it up, you can have them sign off, then they can't come back to you and say, well, I didn't know I needed to stock. You did too. It was right here on the checklist. These are your expectations. So now we'll talk just a little bit about marketing. So the first thing that you can do is use your own center to market your redemption space by doing what we call a remote display. So prizes outside of your redemption room, whether they're hanging from the ceiling, you can hang up grid wall and hang prizes around the game room, or you can even use your games. Like right here, we've got a bicycle on top of a crane. This is going to be able to help keep those prizes top of mind, because remember that prizes drive gameplay. So if I'm out in the game room and as I'm playing, I'm seeing these prizes, again, it just motivates me to want to play games or add more money onto my card to continue to play. You can also, I know you probably do advertising for your business, but you can do it just for the redemption space. You can do it on your website or use social media to just share out about new prizes, new things coming in. This post right here, Malibu Jacks in Lexington, they blasted out when we refreshed their whole redemption space and brought in a lot of new prizes. So just getting those prizes out to your guests through your traditional channels will really help, again, keep those prizes top of mind. And then another thing you can do is you've probably got a million screens throughout your facility. Use them to advertise for your redemption space. So share about new prizes you have coming in or things that have just arrived, hot new trends, whatever the case may be. Go ahead and use all that real estate that you already have in your facility. And then my last thing I'll talk about is your staff. You want to encourage them to understand the game room, understand how the games play, let them know the ins and outs of how everything works. And then just make them feel valued. You can do contests. You could do prizes for these contests, whether it's the biggest upsell, so-and-so added on gameplay to 20 extra cards this month. This employee had a wonderful guest interaction. Just do something to recognize them and make them feel valued, and they will want to turn that back around to you and again make your guests feel valued. You could also feature an employee or a team on your social media, whether it's a monthly highlight, sharing somebody's promotion, something like that, just again to share out with the community that you value your employees, and again they turn around and value you back. So that was everything I had. That was a lot. I know I just threw at you, but now we can kind of chat. So I'm going to stop sharing, and if anyone has any questions, let's go.
Thanks, Megan. Does anybody have any questions for Megan? Lee Hanley, go for it, Lee.
What is your opinion on, what do you say to that customer who comes up and asks if they can purchase the item or buy tickets so that they can buy up for that? What's your opinion?
We typically do not recommend that. I know it can start to get kind of tricky as far as taxes, as something being sold versus being redeemed. And again, it kind of devalues that prize, because if you're putting a dollar amount on it, then they might actually understand how much they're spending in the game room for those tickets. And that's not really math we want them to be able to understand. It also can just cause confusion with your employees. So it's not something we recommend.
Okay, we don't do that. There's always someone who wants to buy something rather than, they just want out the door
Mhm.
but their kid's screaming and they want this item. If it is a small item or they just want to buy up, sometimes I just, whatever.
Just give it to them. Yeah, you could set, a limit, maybe it's 25 tickets or whatever you feel comfortable with that empower your employees. Okay, they only need 20 more tickets, just give it to them, get them out the door. Mom will be happy. Again, keeping in mind it's the last interaction they're having before leaving your building. You've got to, you don't want to give away the house, but also find a nice balance to where a compromise that you could make them happy as well.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
I'd like to ask something, Chuck Cole. How do you go about doing the pricing, and can you make it more difficult or easier, or the machines all look after that? And is the pricing constant or very similar between most of the centers?
So that's a big question. So I'll talk about the game payouts. So this would be something that you would really partner with your game distributor on, but the industry standard tends to be 18 to 24% on your payouts. Again, every center is different, so you want to do what's best for you, but that's typically where most centers land. Then with your ticket markup, I would say about 90% of our customers do a 2 times markup. So we have it to where it's just loaded into the website. You don't have to do any math on your own, but we'll have your currency exchange set up in there. Most of the customers, like I said, do 2 times. So your prizes are marked up twice. So I'm going to do some real quick, dirty math for you. So with the game payout, 18 to 24%, let's just say 25% for easy math. Okay, so a customer comes in with $100, puts $100 into your games. With a 25% payout, they should expect to get about $25 worth of tickets. Then you turn around to the redemption room where everything is marked up 2 times, meaning that $25 goes half as far. So you're going to walk out with about $12.50 worth of prizes. So that's going to be your what we call cost of goods sold, which is money in, prizes out, and typically 12 to 18% is fairly standard. Again, every location is different. I'm going to, in just a moment, I will show you guys the training portal, which links to our operational toolkit. And we actually have a cost of goods calculator in there. So if you really want to get into the math and kind of pull the levers and figure out your costs and your gameplay, you can really dig in and do that with that spreadsheet. Does that answer your question?
Yes, and the only thing I'd like to know now is when you say that we can go to this other portal and do some training stuff, is that likely the next step if we're looking seriously at doing this? Also, what we need to do is find out where we're going to get the machines and stuff like that from, of course, as well.
Sure. So I'm not 100% about distribution in Canada. I know here in the US, the main distributors are Betson and Schaefer. Paul, I'm not sure if you have any resources as far as through Bowl Canada, but that would probably be where you want to start with the games. Everything that's in our portal will be kind of redemption focused. So videos and resources as far as like setting your crane payouts and videos on how to set up a planogram and those types of things. We don't really delve too deeply into the machine aspect of it.
Of course not.
If I can follow up then on the machining or the game units themselves, we do have an arrangement with Betson. They are one of our power purchase partners, just as Redemption Plus is. What I'll do is I'll send out, when I send out, Megan's given me some links to the things you're about to see. I'm going to send those out to you, including this slide that the show that you just seen. But I'll include Betson's information as well, so you can contact them. We've got preferred pricing with them, and it's a great way to get started.
Great.
Thanks, Paul.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I just, I think some of us are at different stages in our redemption endeavors. Some of us may not be ready to do the whole separate redemption room, but maybe we just have standalone machines that are merchandisers. Maybe you could talk about some of that, like Find a Key or Keymaster or Prize
Yeah.
Locker, Cut to Win, that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually sell quite a few different kits, crane and merchandiser kits on our website. So for specific machines, even if you don't have a room, if you have, there's a machine that's called a prize hub. That's essentially like a redemption vending machine. We sell a whole kit for that. We sell products for the Find a Key, Cut to Win, pretty much anything that you could need. We're going to have something for you. If you hop on our website, on the left-hand side, there's a cranes and merchandisers. And if you hover over that, it'll show you the different machines. And we're actually getting ready to put out a cranes and merchandisers focused catalog that will be out, I think, next month. So we have all kinds of resources to help if you don't have the full room, if you just have a small selection of prizes.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else have any questions for Megan?
Well, I will real quick then go ahead and show you guys the portal. Let me share my screen here again. So this right here is our training portal. If you click in here to contact a rep, this will take you to Mike Tipton. He is our COO. So if you don't already have an account with us, he can get you set up and we can get you started. We're more than happy to help in whatever we can do. We've got a lot of resources in here. So we've got some courses. We've got this redemption introduction course. We've got a video series, which stars me. So don't worry, you will not be able to miss me after this. But there's, I think, 40 some videos in this series on all different types of aspects of redemption. We also have video trainings for Embed and InterCard. Those are two of the card reader systems. So we've got Embed, InterCard here. And then we have another Merchandising 101 e-course. Both of these courses are fairly quick. I would say maybe 20 to 30 minutes tops. So if it's something that you're wanting to learn more in depth, I would recommend taking these courses. And then product, this will take you straight to just show you our latest new items. We're constantly bringing new items in. I think Q4 of last year, we added over 300 new items. So constantly bringing things in. And then this here links to our operational toolkit. And I'm going to pull that up here in a separate tab to show you. So it's set up as a Dropbox, and we've got a lot of different resources in here for you. So the calculators I was talking about, if you go into this calculators tab, we have a bin weight calculator. So you can actually weigh your bin items instead of, when you're doing your monthly inventory, instead of having to count up 5,264 Tootsie Rolls, you can weigh it and type in, I have 7 pounds, and it will calculate it out for you. We have the cost of goods calculator. We even have a crane payout calculator. And then if you do want to do the ticket balls, like I was talking about, we even have a profitability calculator. So you can figure out, I'm taking in this much on the game, I'm giving out this much on tickets, and kind of figure out how that works for you. We have, for each of those, the embed and the InterCard videos, we have matching like how-to sheets. So you can click in here. If you don't want to watch the video, we've got a sheet that you can follow along with. I've got information on merchandising in here, how to use a planogram, what's a storyboard, storage best practices. And this right here is our redemption handbook that has a ton of information in it. It'll go a lot more in depth into the a lot of the stuff that I went through, as well as a lot of it's Redemption Plus focus, like showing you how to use our website, but a lot of it is also just really good redemption information. And then we also have ticket label templates. If you want to make your own ticket labels instead of having to print them through the website, we've got templates you can download. You can add your own logo, your own colors, and then just print them out. And we've got all the instructions for that as well. So there's a lot of cool resources in here. We are happy to help in whatever way we can. I hope you guys can kind of understand from this. I really love talking about redemption and education. So anything that we can do to help you get off the ground, get started, or if you just are already going and just have other questions, please reach out. We are happy to help.
Megan, we had Natalie had her hand up. Natalie, are you there? You have a question?
I am. Hi, Megan. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Good, thanks. I'm in between everywhere. So, as Ray said, we're at the beginning stages. We attended our first IAPA in November, and it was mind blowing.
It's a lot, isn't it?
Oh yeah. So we have since purchased 6 games. I think we have 3 of them in now, and our goal is redemption. We're hoping to be there within a year.
Okay.
So when we're ready to okay, I think we're good. We've either got enough collateral to borrow money to buy a ton of games, right? Because speaking with Amber at Betson, she was telling us that you want a good variety of games for the kids, I guess, or the players to play, so that they feel that they can collect money or points, right? So it's not like if you get 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 games, might not be favorable to start redemption. Is that sort of
It
correct?
really depends on the type of games, I suppose, because if you're having games that you can already win prizes out of, like a crane machine or a prize locker, that's kind of your redemption right there. Typically I would say you probably don't need a big redemption counter till you get up to maybe 15 to 20 games. But again, it just kind of depends on that selection, because if you're concentrating on video games or VR or games that are going to give more of an experience rather than tickets, you wouldn't necessarily need those prizes to give away.
Okay. So then when we decide, okay, that's it, let's start, kind of make our way, probably hopefully with you guys as you're one of our purchasing partners, and then direct us in the right way. We already invested in an intercard system, so that's a step ahead. But
yeah. Well, when you're ready to pull the trigger, we can work with you. We can design a redemption counter or room for you, or work with what you put together. We can build a planogram. We can ship out, build a whole assortment for you, build it, ship it out. And then if you spend $10,000 on your opening order, we will actually come out and merchandise it and train you as well.
in Northern Ontario?
Yep.
In the not winter, I'm sure.
In the not winter, please.
Yeah. I think it was minus 48 with the wind here last week.
Yeah, no, we don't do that.
Okay.
No, we're happy to, help you figure out, what's going to be best for your location, select your prizes, and, whether we do come out or if we don't come out, we could always do like a virtual training with you as well. Just depending on what works best.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you. It was a lot of information. I'm anxious to rewatch it all, and yeah.
There's a lot to dig through.
Right, for sure. Great. Thank you.
Us old farts, I've never seen a redemption game. But hey, we're gonna jump in with both feet at some point. But yeah, this has been really, really, really helpful.
Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, from, here in the States, so many of these kind of legacy bowling centers have been taking out lanes and putting in game rooms. And we're hearing that it's either, top line revenue or next to top line revenue. So the game room can really, really make you a lot of money if it's done well.
Great.
Lee?
I just wanted to say that we only have 12 games, and we do redemption, and it does quite well. So you don't need to wait until you have 15, 20 games. You can do it with less. And we started with just our front desk, we had forward facing glass locked cabinets. So I would just fill this one section, you know, just get some little things and, you know, like little bin items and, you know, I made it look really good, but just not a whole lot of items. And then I filled another section in the front counter. And before I knew it, I had gotten rid of all the used shoes and balls that I had on display. Why do I need, I took pictures of those, put them in a binder. So for the few people that are interested in shoes and balls, they can go to the binder. Now my front counter has all redemption items in it. And just yesterday, I ordered some slat wall from Uline, and we've put it up behind there for the bigger ticket items and more stuff that I haven't bought yet, but I'm going to buy bigger items that don't fit in the display cabinet, because that was always my limit. I can't buy anything bigger than my display cabinet. So I was very limited in stuff, but now I can go bigger.
That's really exciting. And that's, you know, so great to hear about, you know, just being able to start small and then slowly expand.
Yeah, just saying, everyone can do it. Doesn't matter how much space you have, you start small. And once you realize how successful it is, you will look at your space differently. Every inch. Okay, I don't really need that. I'm not using that space. What can I put in there? And it's amazing what you can find. It's so much fun. I love shopping for toys. It's my favorite.
It's truly, we've already started looking at space like, what can we put here? Or I agree with you. It's true.
It's addicting, I think.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, Leah is a 12-lane center in a city of about 25, 30,000. Is that accurately?
I don't know,
Yeah,
Depends
So it
the
doesn't-
season.
right?
doesn't have to be a massive footprint.
No, we're not very big.
Does anybody else have any questions for Megan?
No.
All right. I think for me, takeaways, I mean, clearly Redemption Plus is the best in the business. As Megan said, they'll help you with all aspects. So it's not like you need to go in completely green and not have any clue what you're doing. They're there to help you. And obviously there's a science to it, which they're very well aware of and very well schooled in. And for numbers folks like me, this is a dream. I mean, you can there's numbers galore. You can analyze to your heart's content. And also for those of you on the call, we are pleased to announce that Redemption Plus is renewed with us. And so Bowl Canada members are going to receive a 15% discount on inners. So you can explain what inners are after this, and a 30% discount on cases. So the Redemption Plus program is a huge value for Bowl Canada members. So we want to thank Redemption Plus, and a sincere thank you to Megan for sharing all of this experience with us. So thank you very much. It's great stuff. So if you could explain what inners and cases before we
Sure.
let you go.
No, so we sell items in 3 units of measure, and each would be just this one item. An inner is going to be a multi-pack, so maybe 12 or 24. And then the case is going to be your big bulk. So maybe a gross will be in a case. So obviously case pricing is going to be the best. But inners, you can still, if you don't need the full, 144 of an item, you could get an inner of 12 and still get a discount on it.
Sure. So 15% discount on inners, 30% on a case. So that's significant.
That's awesome.
So that's excellent.
How long is that offer in place?
That agreement
Paul, I think
for
we're talking long term.
a year,
Forever and
right?
ever, forever and ever. It's just
Yes.
an arrangement we have in place. I mean, it could
Awesome.
change one day, but right now it's an ongoing and renewed plateau.
Member benefit.
Yeah.
Good, yeah,
And of course, everything on the website's US dollars, right?
right.
Yes.
Correct. So this is one of those programs that could easily pay for your membership dues.
Could I say something?
Go ahead, Lee.
Because I never complete my purchase in one sitting. I will sit down, put things in my cart, go to work, answer the phone, whatever, come back the next day, and I'd open it up and the stuff in my cart was gone. So there's a trick. You have to hit save cart and you can name it. And then it'll save for 24 hours because it takes the stock out of circulation, correct?
Yes, it holds that stock for you for
So
24
for
hours.
24 hours, but then if you forget about it, they send you an email the next day reminding you that your cart is going to expire. So then you go to the website, you reload it, add more things, save it again, and it'll save for another 24 hours. This is great because I will
That's really
sometimes
good.
take a
You
week.
can take a week making an order.
Yes, yes, because I changed my mind and whatever. But anyway, once I was in contact with them because I was getting frustrated because I was writing it down so that I would put it back in the next day. Anyway, I found that, so I'm sharing.
Thank you.
Two things on that. In the operational toolkit, in that redemption handbook, there are step-by-step instructions of how to save your cart. Click here, go here. And if you ever do need more than that 24 hours, just call your account manager and we can persist that cart on the back end for longer than that 24.
Good
Awesome.
tips. But we are respectful of everybody's time. I just have one more question for you. How do people go about setting up an account with Redemption Plus? And do we need to let you know that we're Bowl Canada members so that we make sure we get that discount? How does that all work, Megan?
So in the portal, under that contact your rep, that'll go straight to Mike Tipton. And he is our COO and he can get you set up. Definitely let him know you're from Bowl Canada and we can get that discount turned on for you. But he will be happy to get anybody needed an account. And then we can direct you to, whichever account rep would be best for your account.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you all so much.
Again, thank you,
appreciate
Megan.
it.
We appreciate you coming on and spending your time with us. I think it's going to be a great relationship.
Looking forward to it and hope to see you
Yes.
all again sometime soon.
Awesome. Thank you, Megan.
Thank you.
Thanks, Megan.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks,
Bye.
Megan.